I'm feeling very self-conscious with my dress. Okay, thank you, Krista, for the warm invitation. It's a pleasure, and I'm delighted to be here with you. I'm also delighted to hear that I have 10 minutes, because I thought I had 5. And I have 9 slides, so we will be okay together. Everything that has been said all of today has just been wonderful, and I'm really not going to bring anything new to it. Building on everything that you've heard, I would like to just leave you with an additional spin. So the title of the talk is What Happens in the Intersection of Things, Positive Change, whether it's in us personally, whether it's in us professionally and what we're able to do professionally on our journeys, or indeed whether it is the impact that we can have and leave in the world. And I come from the Synergist, and we work on societal impact. And how do we do this? We do this, first of all, by unlearning what we have learned. We lean inward to ourselves, like all of you have been doing the work today, and then externally into the world. We start by examining the multiplicity that we carry. We carry multiplicities, how we grew up, what we studied, where we lived, our hobbies, our multiple identities. But as we go through school, increasingly, especially if you're from my generation, and many of you plus minus, in a complementary way, probably have had a school system similar to mine, which is we get more and more narrow and more down an expert road. But as we've heard from other speakers today, that's not the world that we operate in anymore. We operate in a world that is increasingly globalized. We operate in a world that is increasingly interconnected, both in terms of economic, geopolitical systems, but also digitally. And we no longer operate in a world that is fit for how our generation was raised. Those of you in the room who are coaches, who are trainers, who are HR professionals, you have an opportunity to lead the change, to enable in others the kind of leadership and collaborative engagement that can make a difference, both for people's internal or professional journey, as well as for the impact that they can have in the world. So increasingly, and I'll very briefly speak about the Synergist at the very end just to explain, we operate in complex systems. And most of our sectors, regardless if we're in the banking sector, finance, if we're in energy, if we're in agriculture, environment, you name it, education, we are struggling. We are facing multiple complex societal problems, and we are approaching our planetary boundaries. How do we prepare people for work? And what kind of work are those people going to do? And most of society will probably have to weigh in to try to address the complex societal challenge that faces us all, and that we're all in. So we make it our business, literally our day-to-day bread and butter business, to work with people to do just this, to come from the sector that they're operating in and to bridge between them towards a shared purpose. It starts with going internally. What are all the parts of you that you park when you go to work? And what would happen if you stopped parking those parts? What would happen if you found the commonality that you have with each individual, regardless of what sector they're from, what stakeholder group they're from, if you were taught that they're not the ones that have anything to do with your job, but what happened if you leaned into and embraced that difference and found a way to make it productive? That's the business that we're in. We operate in building a shared space and a shared purpose between stakeholders across sectors to solve common, large societal problems. And it doesn't mean becoming the same. We tend to think that we are safest with what we recognize. We are safest with those that are like us. Biologically, that is one way that our brain registers safety, and difference is painful. It's uncomfortable to try to understand someone that comes with an experience or a vantage point that we don't understand. Now, I know all of you are probably, I'm preaching to the choir, and sold on the power of diversification and the power of diverse views, but not everybody out there is, because it's really hard to do. But the other thing that our brain is naturally wired to do is to recognize patterns and connect dots. What if we leaned into that in ourselves and brought it out to others in our daily work? What if you as coaches and trainers enabled the people that you help be leaders or indeed the leaders that you are in your respective fields, if you leaned into that and connected the dots between your projects, between your departments, between your stakeholder groups, between your sectors, and found shared purpose, any shared purpose, to solve problems collectively. This is where my talk is almost coming to an end, and I want to leave you with the idea that builds so beautifully on the talk that you've just heard, and we didn't agree or synchronize at all, but I love the fact that Veli used the word muscle. This is not an action. This is a mindset. And as a mindset, it's a daily mental muscle that we have to exercise to look internally to say, what do I have in common with you that really matters? What is the meaning that we share that we can build on? What is the problem that we agree on and we can come with our differences to solve it and to find the complementarity? So because I only have 10 minutes and I think I've taken 8 of them already, I'm just going to do a very brief plug to explain this is how we think. It's a small portion of how we think at The Synergist. The Synergist is an NGO based in Brussels operating globally. That is the neutral backbone organization that hosts these platforms. People come to us with problems, or we identify a problem and we go to the stakeholders around that problem and we bring them together. And using all the tools that you've already heard, which are also part of our repertoire, and more tools, we do active listening, we connect dots between them, we find the commonalities, we build the trust, we forge the common language, so that we genuinely have a shared purpose and establish a team mentality, whether it's energy, environmental groups, patient organizations, pharmaceutical groups, to start crafting solutions collectively. Because when we do something collectively, 1 + 1 is not 2. Collective intelligence that is born is actually 5, 10, 15.